Some might say this is a little disrespectful to the original cut, but I'm going to turn this magnificent New York strip from Cutting Edge Butchers into 2 mighty fine steak sandwiches. Because we're using the finest ingredients today, use a bit of Lurpak, we're going to do some caramelised onion, we're going to use some sun-dried tomatoes, we're going to garlic rub a beautiful piece of this freshly baked loaf. I don't use sourdough. You can, and I enjoy it sometimes, but it's a pretty hard eat, and I want to really do this piece of beef justice. So that's what we're having today. Going to keep it pretty simple, but another star of this particular show is this magnificent Havarti. It's the pepper and garlic Havarti from Harvey Cheese, just down the road in the Swan Valley. We're also going to use a bit of Brucey's special sauce. I could tell you the ingredients, but I'd have to kill you, so we won't do that. And just a little bit of beautiful fresh rocket, and some seasonings. As I said, a bit of garlic fresh on the toasted bread, and we'll see how it comes up. With the Spanish onion, I'm just going to use a bit of olive oil. This is actually a really nice Spanish olive oil as well, so we're going to put some of that in there. Not too much. And then we're going to just keep the onions as in rings. There we go, sorry guys, just rings. And we're going to pop them in the pan. Beautiful, and we're going to let them caramelise for a few minutes in there. And now the onions are starting to take a bit of colour, we're going to drop a nice little dollop of Lurpak butter in there. And that's just going to melt, and then we will hit it with a little bit of salt, and a little bit of pepper, and let them just all caramelise up beautifully. You could throw a little bit of fresh herb in there if you wanted, a little bit of oregano or something like that. I might actually pick a little bit from the garden in a sec and chuck it in. As promised, back from the herb garden with a little bit of fresh oregano. I'm just going to tear that into the caramelised onions, which we've seasoned already. And they're really starting to sweat down nicely. Look at that, they're just beautiful, getting nice and sticky, and they will be delicious. While we're adding flavour to the onion, we're going to splash it and deglass the pan with just a little tiny bit of red wine vinegar. And that's done, just a splash. That's all we need. Alright, that's ready. We'll just pop that in there for later. Now, as I said, this little piece of beef here is going to be treated with the utmost of respect. So I'm not going to do too much to it, but I am going to put a little bit of salt on it. Alright, I'm going to salt both sides. Alright. And a little bit of pepper, not too much pepper, right? Just a little bit of pepper. And I'm going to put a few chili flakes, a little bit of chili flakes on both sides, just a bit of dried chili, and then a little bit of all-purpose seasoning, just a little bit, all right? Because we don't want to do too much to it. That's it, baby. Lightly seasoned, sitting. It's at room temp now. Just brought it up from the fridge. You don't want to cook it real cold, because it's not going to cook properly. So we're ready to go. I am going to hit it with just a little bit of olive oil, because I don't want to oil the pan. I'm just going to oil this piece of beef, and that's it. A little bit of that, a little bit of that. All right, that is ready. That's ready for the pan, and that's where we're going to put it right now. Fairly hot pan, straight in. So I've just turned the steak. Now I'm going to get this Havarti cheese. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it right on the top of that steak there, like so, and let the heat of the steak pull that cheese in and melt it, and then I'll rest the whole thing together. Just a little bit of the butter from the pan and the pan juices. We're just going to drop that onto the cheese. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get the red onion, and we're going to sprinkle that all over the top while that steak rests. And that's sitting on top of the cheese. And that cheese is just melting a little bit. Alright, and that's just going to rest like so. And then we'll finish her off in a minute. So with the bread, what I've done is lightly toasted, just in a conventional toaster, the 2 pieces. What we're going to do is, we got some fresh garlic, and we're going to crush that. There we go, and there. We're going to make that all smudgy, like so, and then we're just going to rub that onto the toast. Just rub that garlic onto the toast, like so. A bit more on here, this one too, on there like that. Alright, and then we're going to throw a dollop of that Lurpak into a pan, get that nice and melty. And then these 2 beautiful pieces of garlic toast are going into the Lurpak butter. For a quick toast on both sides. So now that the steak's rested a little bit, it's going to get a little bit of Dijon. We're just going to put a little bit of Dijon on the base bit of bread. And that's ready to go. A little bit of that. And then the steak's rested now, so we're going to pop that onto there. And then, as you can see, that's loaded, ready to go. And what we're going to do now is a little bit of sun-dried tomato. Here's some I prepared earlier. Sun-dried tomato. Alright, and then with the tomato, we're just going to put, just to bring out the flavour, a little bit of salt on there. The top, we are going to lather in Brucey's special sauce. This has a little bit of chili flake in there, as you can see. As I said, the rest of the ingredients I can't tell you. But they're ready to go. We're going to pop a little bit of the fresh rocket on top. Not too much. And then we're going to drop that top right on there like so. And there we have Brucey's steak sandwich. Beautiful. Now the bone of contention. Do we serve the steak sandwich on the fries? Well, here's some fries. What we're going to do is pop them on the plate. Sexy little plate too, this one. This is one that was handmade in Bali. I picked up 3 or 4 last time I was over there, and this is definitely a favourite. So we're going to pop that on there. And what we're going to do is we're just going to rest up the steak sandwich onto there. What we're going to do to pay homage to the Spanish onion and the semi-drieds, we're going to drop a few olives on the top. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to hit the whole lot with a tiny little bit of that olive oil. All right. And then some fresh chives on top. And there we are. Simple, few fries, WA beef, cooked to perfection, hopefully. I'm going to do a cross section now. So the moment of truth. Run a knife through it. What do you think? I think that'll do. Don't know what you reckon, but I reckon it deserves a beautiful WA feral warhog to wash it down. Enjoy. WA chef, WA beef, WA beer. Here's cheers. Enjoy.